For the majority of One Piece, Garp was just Luffy's goofy grandpa, the guy throwing cannonballs or yelling about the Marines, but that image shattered the moment he stepped onto Blackbeard's island. Because when Garp fought Aokiji, we didn't just see power, we saw a monster. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Garp's performance wasn't just impressive, it was godlike. But to understand how insane Garp really was, we need to break down what he was actually up against. Before he can even touch Aokiji, Garp had to lead a squad of Marines straight into Blackbeard's personal headquarters, Pirate Island. And calling this place dangerous is just an understatement, because this isn't just an island, this is the O Block of One Piece, a war zone crawling with bloodthirsty pirates. And Blackbeard? He's not just some random Yonko. This man violated Ace and turned him in like it was nothing. He completely cooked Law's entire crew with ease. And Garp wasn't just walking into Blackbeard's front yard. He had a bounty on his head, and thousands of pirates were looking to collect, including one of the most dangerous, Kuzan, aka Aokiji, a former admiral and now Blackbeard's right-hand man. A man who could freeze entire armies with a wave of his hand. And yet, Garp walked straight in with a smile on his face. Before he even lands on Pirate Island, he makes sure to let everyone on the island know what time it is. With one punch, he launches an entire marine ship into the sky. The amount of force it would take to launch a ship of this size is insane. For reference, the Vivre card One Piece visual directory written by Eiichiro Oda himself confirms that Garp stands at a height of 9 feet and 5 inches. From this, we can estimate that the specific ship that Garp is standing on is about 23 feet tall and about 30 feet and 6 inches wide. And based on its structure, we can deduce that his ship is modeled after the galleon battleships from the 17th and 18th centuries. Based on the ship's dimensions, it would be a large-sized galleon battleship, which historically have been known to easily weigh 500 to 1,000 tons. On the low end, Garp would need 98,100,000 joules of force in order to launch his ship 20 meters into the air, based on how high the ship ascended. And on the high end, Garp would have had to exert an incredible 196,200,000 joules of force to do so, which means bro really just casually threw a punch with the force of at least 23 tons of TNT exploding all at once as a warm-up. And that's not even taking into consideration the speed, horizontal displacement of the ship, and the fact that this force came from the air pressure of the attack alone. But Garp's not finished yet. Just to give Aokiji and the rest of the island a stronger taste of his absurd power, Garp immediately jumps off the ship mid-flight and launches the most beautiful attack that the pirate world has ever seen, creating a huge blast that eviscerates multiple buildings in its path. Garp's galaxy impact had a blast radius of well over 65 feet based on the portion of the crater's length that we can see. To put this into perspective, the Mark 82 bombs that were dropped on Libya in 1986 had a 50 to 80 foot blast radius and had a potential energy output of about 800 million joules of destructive power due to the 87 kilograms of tritonol within. Keep in mind that this wasn't even a direct hit and was done from more than 20 meters in the air based on the original ship launch. But as soon as Garp was thinking that his crew could retreat, Aokiji decided that it was his turn to aura farm. He takes one step and freezes one of his crew members solid from a distance, just to send a message. Even in the coldest place on Earth, Domafuji, Antarctica, which hits a brutal negative 135.9 degrees Fahrenheit, a human wouldn't be able to freeze solid for hours. But Aokiji freezes Hibari into solid ice in a matter of seconds. And with that, the real battle begins. Because at this moment, Garp realized that Kuzan wasn't playing around anymore. But it was already too late. Aokiji was already 2 steps ahead, freezing Garp's feet and cutting off his mobility. With his movement locked down, Garp lost the ability to dodge or escape, and that single moment of control was all Aokiji needed to follow up, trapping Garp inside a spherical ice prison. This prison was most likely more than 20 times stronger than a full cubic meter of reinforced concrete, the stuff that's holding up bridges and skyscrapers, given the fact that it's durable enough to stall a guy who could casually launch a 500 to 1,000 ton battleship like a baseball and withstand his shockwave until Garp got serious, in time to dodge Aokiji's follow-up attack. Now we get to see Garp's high battle IQ in full effect. Up until now, Aokiji has been using his long-range advantage, keeping Garp at a distance with his ice projectiles, but Garp turns the tables using Aokiji's projectiles against him. Now with Aokiji on the back foot, Garp closes the gap at lightning speed. However, due to the parallax effect, which causes different layers of the scene to move at inconsistent rates, quantifying his speed is nearly impossible. But whatever speed he was going was fast enough to get in close. Garp lands a powerful blow on the ice structure that Aokiji's standing on, destroying his high ground advantage and creating a cloud of smoke in the process. Now Aokiji's line of sight is restricted. Realizing this, Garp hides within the smoke. Aokiji, left with only a split-second decision, chooses to dodge when he sees Garp charging at him, but it's a decoy. Before Aokiji can react, Garp launches Aokiji several meters underground. Despite coating his body in advance to soften the blow, Garp's power here is absolutely catastrophic, enough to reshape the battlefield and overwhelm Aokiji's defenses. Aokiji is hit with a force strong enough to raise the terrain several feet, a force equivalent to or greater than a magnitude 7.5 earthquake. This amount of force would release 32,000 times more energy than the Hiroshima bomb, which released 63 terajoules and killed an estimated 140,000 people. But everything takes a drastic turn when Garp jumps in to save Koby and takes a sword clean through the chest. Instead of stabilizing, Garp worsens his condition by pulling the blade out himself, a critical mistake. The sword was acting as a tamponade, plugging the wound and minimizing blood loss. By removing it, Garp essentially unseals the injury, leading to massive, uncontrolled bleeding. And yet, with a hole in his chest and blood pouring out, Garp still stands. And from across the battlefield, Aokiji steps up, ready for round 2. Despite the blood loss, fatigue, and visible damage, Garp keeps trading career-ending blows with one of the strongest characters in the series. Aokiji launches a final ice attack, but Garp shuts it down instantly. And somehow, even after all of this, Garp still has enough strength to throw another galaxy impact. It's easy to understand why everything that Garp achieved in this fight was impressive, but a closer look reveals that Garp is even more godlike than his raw feats in this fight insinuate. Garp's galaxy impact wasn't just raw power, it was a precise attack. The whole reason why Garp came to Pirate Island was to rescue Koby. The only problem was that he had no idea where Koby was. For all he knew, Koby could have been on the surface of the island with the rest of the pirates, so Garp needed to drop a surprise attack on the island without accidentally hitting Koby in the process, implying that Garp wasn't going all out. Furthermore, Garp states after dropping his nuclear level attack, "When did I get so weak?" to insinuate that he could have done way worse in his prime. So even Garp's nerfed galaxy impact would have been even more deadly had he not been 78 years old. Now, there isn't an exact statement that explains how much Garp got nerfed due to old age. There is a translated panel from chapter 438 of the manga that shows Garp saying that his cannonball throws are half as fast as they used to be. But there are other translations that don't imply that Garp only has 50% of his strength, making the credibility of this argument a bit dubious. The only glimpse of Garp's prime that we get to see is a flashback of Garp using old battleships as punching bags. If these are the same types of ships that Garp launched, then they are most likely many times stronger than real-life ships. In the real world, a 1,000-ton galleon battleship would snap in half like a twig if it felt 100 million joules of force, because of the fact that ships are designed to float not withstand intense vertical explosions. But Garp is able to do enough cumulative damage to heavily damage the battleship bags in his prime, just as training practice, which just goes to show how strong he was. But even in old age, Garp is able to wear out Aokiji, who was able to fight with Admiral Akainu for 10 days straight. Akainu was able to take multiple attacks from Whitebeard, a Yonko level threat. Only when Garp is worn out and bleeding uncontrollably can Aokiji trade blows with Garp on an even playing field. If you think that Garp deserves more respect, drop a like, and if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.